Welcome to the Unshakeable Talks with me, Katy. This is where we lift the lid on what entrepreneurs are really going through. The struggles, the myths, the mistakes, and the things we've been sold to. This is where we talk about how we balance business and life. This isn't another podcast teaching strategy. This is where we talk about the raw, real truth about female entrepreneurship and what it really means to run a business and life and combine both of them together. Running a business as a woman isn't harder, it's just different. And it's time we talk about this. There is no cap on what we can achieve, because behind every business, there's the stuff no one dares to talk out loud. Welcome to the Unshakeable Talks. Today we have Katy's Corner episode. And in today's episode, I would like to speak about the identity crisis of success. And when I was looking into this episode, I did a bit of research and I came across a recent UK survey which I like to read to you. One UK survey found that 54% of women said that they're experiencing imposter syndrome compared to 38% of men. The same survey shows that women are significantly more likely to struggle with self-doubt around their ability and next level growth. And this really hit quite hard and I found really interesting because I really let this sit with me and thought about what are the reasons for this? Why do we women struggle with this the most? And obviously there are the general reasons of generational conditioning and societal conditioning. But I think for me, the main reason which really came up was the identity crisis we usually as women go through when we are trying to reach our next level. And the reason for this is because in our normal day-to-day, we are juggling so many different identities because we're wearing so many different hats. And actually, when it comes to trying to level up and trying to reach your next level, it is very difficult and quite scary to really address each and every single one of those identities. And I've asked myself, why do we struggle so much with this? Why can we not just take a step back naturally and tackle each of those things one by one? They always say small steps towards your big goal will make a difference. But what is it actually what holds us as women back? And I really had to sit with this for a while and check myself as well, because it may surprise you, but I definitely struggle with this at times as well. I'm so much better nowadays, but I still do struggle with this. And there are many reasons why we do, but one of the big reasons is your bigger vision just needs a bigger version of yourself. So the person you are today cannot take you to your next level. It's just not possible. And actually, in order to do this, you have to shift quite a lot of your identity. And that is just unsafe. It feels unsafe. It is the unknown. It's the fear of judgment from people around you. And this makes us generally retrieve and play small. The other thing is, once you do get successful in what you want to achieve, success tends to expose really your edges. Success exposes where you're playing small, where you maybe need to make improvements in terms of your knowledge, in terms of how you do business, how you do your day-to-day. It just exposes your blind spots. Because remember, that goes back again to the way you've been operating in your day-to-day right now. It won't work on your next level. So you really have to look at the things what need to be changed. And no one likes change. Change doesn't come natural to us. And change takes work. It takes time. It actually also takes a lot of gut. You need to really go for it. And life is busy, especially as a mum, and we always kind of keep ourselves on the back burners. And the other thing which is a big reason for me is that old habits can't hold your new identity and your new success. So again, the way you do things right now won't be enough for your next level. And that comes down to your people-pleasing ways, which we all have. You will not be able to be the attentive friends for everyone. You won't be available at the top of your head for your family, your children, or for anyone around you. The way you manage your day-to-day will have to be different because you're leveling up, you're growing, you want to achieve something different. So thinking that I just get up an hour earlier will be enough is the wrong way. You really have to sit with this and really understand where are you playing small? Where is your self-doubt coming in? Because this is the other thing. We don't really tend to believe in ourselves really much because we feel safe with the way we are. We know what we're doing right now. We know how people perceive us and how they see us. And that feels good. That feels easy, that feels manageable, and just good. So actually taking the extra leap to change is really scary. And this, I believe, shows up more in women than in men. And there are a couple of reasons why that is and why that shows up in us women more. And one of the big reasons for me is the fear of visibility. Because when you become more or when you become different, you're showing a different side of yourself, a side people around you don't know and don't know you for. And naturally, what happens is you are going to be judged, or at least you're going to feel judged. Quite often, people don't really judge you to the same extent than you feel judged, but they will look at you differently. They may look at you like, she's crazy. What's she doing? What's she talking about? Why is she doing X, Y, Z? That's a bit weird. And that's uncomfortable because, again, your nervous system wants you to stay safe. Your nervous system wants you to just do what you've been doing because that's what you know to be good and that's what you know you should be doing. And it does, like, becoming that new version of yourself almost threatens a little bit your belongings. Like, who am I becoming? It's that person is new to you as well. So you almost have to kind of get to know yourself again and again and again while you grow. And for me, I've done a lot of reinvention work on myself, and specifically the last 24 months. And I'm still Katy. I'm still the original Katy, but it's just a much more improved version of myself. But getting to this point was quite hard, quite painful at the time. It was frustrating. To be fair, it was really frustrating at times. And it's just not easy. It just doesn't feel easy. And the human side in all of us just wants us to have an easy life. Conflict is not something we thrive towards. Conflict is not something we want in our life. And especially if it's with conflict with yourself, that doesn't feel natural. And therefore, subconsciously, you will do anything to avoid it. Which brings you to the next point, which is attachment to control. And some people around me will call me a control freak. See, I wouldn't say I'm a control freak. I just think I'm really organized. So there's a very distinct difference. But in order to level up, in order to work on your next level, in order to redefine who you are, you have to give up control. You have to really look at, let me give an example. If you are within your business and you really want to reach that next income goal, and you know you have to add to your team in order to do this, you will have to give up control about certain things within your business, things you used to do all the time. And yes, you will be most likely better at them because you know exactly what expectations you have of yourself. You know exactly what expectations you think people have from you. But you're only one person, you can't do everything. So you have to add to your team and you have to give up that control to someone else. You have to try to trust people to do a good enough job for you to get to that next step. And it's the same in your private life. As a mom, in order to do business and to be present in my business, I had to rely on people who helped me around the house. I had to rely on a nanny for my daughter in certain parts, like to do the school pick up and do the afternoon care for my daughter so I could be in the office. And that was really hard to give up this control, to actually take this step. Because A, I let a stranger into my house, and B, I was a mum. There's a whole mum guilt coming in. And I didn't trust that someone else could do a good enough job. And my daughter will tell you they probably didn't, but it needed to be done, and it did a good enough job for what I've asked them to do. But giving up that control was super hard, and it's something I would say I struggled my whole business career with, and still struggle to today, even though she's 23, but she doesn't need look aftering anymore. But it's just that you want to be in control because you just know how to be a mom, you know how to run your house, you know how to do certain things, you know how to do your business, you have your vision, and giving up this control is really hard. But it is essential, however that will look like for you and what you would like to achieve, to actually do this if you want to level up. And the most important reason, problem we women have is dealing with the uncontrolled self-doubt. Because deep down, what holds us back the most is we actually don't think we can achieve our next level. We don't think we deserve to get to that goal. We deserve to, whatever it may be, to increase our revenue in our business. Because being more successful in business, for me, always meant letting other things slip, i.e. friendship, i.e. family, i.e. time with my daughter. So there's this guilt coming in, which subconsciously I sabotaged myself because I didn't feel like I deserved to get those money wins, because the consequence of this was letting something else slip. When it came to looking after my health, subconsciously, I sabotaged myself all the time. I sabotaged myself all the time when it came to my exercising because, again, I felt really selfish in taking time for myself, taking it away from my business, from my family, my friends, and everything else. So I think this is the really biggest problem we women have, is we're not really dealing with our underlined self-worth problems. Because deep down, we don't feel like we deserve to reach our next level. And I want to take this opportunity to tell you where this lately for me really showed up. Because even though I teach identity and I'm very good with my clients, all of those things show up in my own personal life all the time. The only difference now is that I can actually catch myself and call myself out now and turn things around very quickly. But it does happen, and it recently really happened for me within business. So you probably know me as a business coach, and business coaching for me was the natural progression after I've closed my original business down, because I've been doing business for 20 plus years. I know when it comes to running a business, people always came to me for advice on how to run their business, because that's what I've been doing all the time. So my natural progression was going into business coaching when I wanted to go back to work. But throughout my coaching, what probably about more than 80% of my work with my clients actually is the identity work. And I've always said, when people ask me, so what is it, what you do? And I said, well, I am a business coach, but it's not really traditional business coaching, because I couldn't quite pinpoint on how to communicate the very important identity part of my work. And I really struggled massively with this. And I thought it's my messaging. I thought, how can I get this message across what is really important, because I can give you a killer strategy, but if you're not leveling up your identity, if you're not becoming the person who can actually hold it and can actually apply the strategy, the best strategy in the world will not move the needle for you. So the core work will always have to start with yourself. That's why this is such a big part of my coaching with my clients. But I just couldn't find a way to communicate this with people. And it was only very recently when I started to get myself into the room, started to connect with other people, and actually started talking about this more authentically and more freely and with much more confidence, because something in me just switched. And I just thought, well, fuck it. I'm just going to say what I say. I'm not going to oblige to the normal blueprint anymore, what they think business coaching should be. And if they don't get it, they don't get it. Someone will eventually get it. So I started communicating it. And actually, what I realized was the reason why I couldn't get the messaging across was I was playing small. I didn't really believe in myself. I didn't think someone would want to work with me just for the identity work, because I felt people see me as that business coach, that strategic business coach, and not really as an identity coach. And consequently, because I was playing small, I was speaking to the wrong person. I was speaking to the wrong ideal client, the person who is at the beginning of their business journey, who just doesn't get it yet because they're not at that stage yet. They haven't tried all the strategy to realize that actually it's not strategy they're needing. It's the leveling up, the new identity to hold their success and to hold the demands of their business. This is what they need. So once I realized this, and other people made me realize this, because when I was connecting with other people and having those honest conversations and really being my authentic self and saying what I think, what I believe will move the needle for you, what I believe is so vital within business, especially as a woman, especially as a mother, people were saying, but Katy, this is exactly why we would be hiring you. This is what we need. We don't need another strategy. We have the strategy. I finally realized I need to speak to those people. And I stopped playing small. And what happened as a consequence was actually quite magnificent, really. I can't say the word, but you know what I mean. My inbox has been flooded since then. I haven't even changed my messaging massively online yet. I've been working on a lot of things offline in the background right now, and I will bring them all to you guys. But since I changed my frequency, since I stood more in my authentic self and stopped playing small and really believed in myself and in being authentic, I'm attracting the right person into my life and into my coaching. I'm working with some incredible women now, and it just showed me that all along I was right. I should have just listened to myself. I should have just really taken the advice I'm giving all of my clients when it comes to living it up myself. So when you're listening to this episode, what I really, really, really want you to do is I really want you to audit your life and yourself. I want you to really sit and take your life apart and look at each individual piece and think, what do I need to change to get to my next level? Don't look at your end goal. Don't look at that income goal you set yourself, or that health goal you set yourself, or that personal goal. Just look at where you're at right now. Look at each individual piece and audit it and see where can you make improvements and where do you have to make improvements to actually get closer towards your end goal. Because this is what really moves the needle, and this is what is really important as a woman, as a female entrepreneur, and as a mother. If you've been feeling stuck or disconnected from the woman behind your business, this is your sign. The Identity Shakeup is my new free audio, a short, powerful reset to help you to get clear on the person who you've become and the person your business needs next. Head to the link in the show notes to access it today.